Third down and 20.
All right, let's move on, Mr. Steed, from the Super Bowl. Enough Todd Bowles praise, I guess is the right word for it. Let's move on. So we got second mock draft. All right, we did another mock draft. Did a full 2 rounds. We're not going to go over both rounds. We'll have the full mock on the website, thirdand20.com. Check it out if you're interested. But let's get right into it. So, unsurprisingly, let's just get the first pick out of the way. We have Trevor Lawrence going 1 to the Jaguars. All right?
Shocker there.
Pick number 2. We have our first crazy trade. Steve, do you want to go over the trade while I get this thing on the screen?
Yeah, so we still believe that the Jets are going to be the favorites to land Deshaun. So Jets would receive Deshaun Watson, and the Texans would get pick 2, the 34th pick, the 66th pick, the 98th pick, and next year's second round pick from the Jets in value. And then we got them taking...
We haven't taken Zach Wilson.
Their guy, Zach Wilson.
So, yeah, the Jets give up an absolute haul for pick number 2 and basically a new draft class. They get an entire draft class for Deshaun Watson. This is kind of assuming that Deshaun Watson continues to want out of Houston and Houston is almost forced to trade him. The Jets end up winning the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, putting out an offer that not a whole lot of teams could match without throwing in the kitchen sink in terms of picks. So the Texans at pick number 2 pick up Zach Wilson to fill in at quarterback. Pick number 3, Dolphins pick up Devontae Smith. You can make a clear argument, and I understand that Jamar Chase, like Steed, has as the better receiver. But the reason that I like the Devontae Smith going to the Dolphins is that I really feel that Devontae Smith fits exactly what the Dolphins need in a receiver. I think that Devontae Smith is a guy that he's just so slippery and tough to cover one-on-one. He's just as good of a deep threat. He's the kind of guy you just put the ball in his hands as well. He can make plays. So in terms of an all-around receiver that I think can do everything and that Tua needs, I think Devontae Smith is that guy more so than Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I still like Jamar Chase more as a prospect. I mean, they're 1A and 1B. They literally, both of them are going to be great. But, yeah, you're right. Devontae Smith fills what they need for Tua and just gives them that little extra, what they were missing last year in offensive firepower.
So now we have we have a lot of crazy trades in this mock. It might be a little bit unrealistic, but we just wanted to have some fun with it. We have Atlanta trading with the Washington football team. Atlanta trades pick 4 and pick 132 to the Washington football team. And the Washington football team gives up a pretty hefty price to move up to pick 4. But in this scenario, the Washington football team would get the guy that they wanted to target the entire draft process, and that would be Justin Fields. So they give up pick 19, 51, 83, and a first-round pick next year to move up to get their quarterback of the future. Ron Rivera gets his guy. We saw what Ron Rivera was able to do with a quarterback the likes of Cam Newton. Now they get a quarterback who is mobile, but not in the same way as Cam Newton, a guy that relies more on speed than necessarily, hey, I'm just going to, be an extra running back a lot of the time. But more importantly, they get a quarterback who is much more accurate than Cam Newton ever was as a prospect.
Yeah, and a reason why I like this trade for Atlanta, speaking from a Falcons fan, and I think I'm speaking as a true Falcons fan here. If they fall in love with the quarterback, they could stay here. But also, Arthur Smith has said that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are going to stay in Atlanta, and they're going to be part of the future. So I don't really see the need for a quarterback. He's going to sit for a year plus. And when you can pick up multiple picks to really restructure your defense that's been a glaring hole for years, and maybe pick up a durable running back that is not named Ito Smith or Brian Hill. Choose a guy who's actually a good prospect. And, for a team that's in a little cap situation, getting a lot of young rookies on these rookie contracts and cutting some of these guys that are just eating up cap space would be huge. And you just reform your defense, and hopefully in a year or two you're able to really compete.
Yeah, going off of what you said, I think and you think that the Falcons staff and their team feels that they are a lot closer than the public consensus does. And everyone is just kind of assuming that Matt Ryan is on the way out of his career. We both think that Matt Ryan, putting him with a defense that is top half of the league, which we both think is what the Falcons need to get back to being a competitive team, you pair him with a good defense, you have the talent on the offensive side of the ball. Matt Ryan could easily be playing for 3 good years for this Falcons team. And this is a trade down where they get a plethora of draft capital to revamp their roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. When the Falcons were good, they had that top half of the league defense. Now they have a defense that was extremely inconsistent, was lacking talent on both their pass rush and on the back end. So they get a move where they're able to fill in a whole lot of needs. And while they do pass up on a quarterback, they do pass up on some of these high caliber offensive prospects. We both think the way for the Falcons to get back is to give Dean Pease some weapons on that defensive side and really get this team back to stopping teams. The Falcons every single year for the past 2 years, 3 years, their defense has been so trash to start off seasons. This year they lost some ridiculous games. They let the Bears score like 20-something points or something crazy like that in the fourth quarter to lose. They let the Cowboys completely thrash them. You can't do that and expect to win games. So that's why we have the Falcons trading down in this scenario. But let's move on to the next tier of picks. Bengals, nothing crazy here. Picking up Penei Sewell, a guy that's been mocked to him a whole lot. Just get that tackle to protect Joe Burrow. Offensive line is a clear need for the Bengals, and while I could see them possibly going defense because their defense was absolutely atrocious, they're just filling in, get a stud level tackle, a guy that could be a number 1 pick in some other drafts at pick 5, good value pick. Eagles pick up Jamar Chase at pick 6. Steed, you want to take this one because you're the Jamar Chase guy.
Yeah, so the Eagles just take, in my eyes, the best receiver in the draft. Jamar Chase and what he did LSU 2 years ago, you got to remember, if you split their numbers between him and Devontae, he had a very similar, in some areas he had better numbers than Devontae. People will forget because he did sit out this year, and understand Devontae played less games than Jamar, but they're two different players, right? Jamar Chase is more of the sure-handed guy and not as crisp route runner, but still, you throw it up to him, he's going to come down with him. He's a red zone. He's a touchdown machine, similar as Devontae. But the Eagles finally get a receiver that will not bust. They missed out on Justin Jefferson. They've missed out on crucial receivers. You can't miss out on Jamar Chase right here. Just take Jamar Chase. And whoever your quarterback is next year, probably not going to be Carson Wentz. In this mock, we got Carson Wentz going. So looking like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts needs all the help he can get on this terrible Eagles team. They're horrible. But drafting Jamar Chase is a great start to really reboot this franchise.
Yeah, I agree. This is exactly what the Eagles want with this pick. If I'm Howie Roseman, I am not dealing with the risk of other prospects. We were thinking about Rashawn Slater here. Just pick up a really quality tackle. I wouldn't be surprised at that, but they get the receiver that they have needed for years. A sure-handed receiver. Get someone who just won't drop the ball, right? That won't be that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Get someone who can replace the X factor of what your offense used to be in Alshon Jeffrey. That guy that when it comes down to the red zone and he's one-on-one, we can throw the ball up and our guy has a better chance of coming down with it than the defender. This is exactly what the Eagles need to get their offense back, especially with a guy like Jalen Hurts. Get him that guy that when push comes to shove, I see pre-snap one-on-one, I'm throwing it to Jamar Chase. My guy comes down with it. This is a great pick for the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamar goes number 3 to the Dolphins. I would not be surprised at all. I can easily see that happening. But trying to take some fits into account, I think that for both teams, their respective receivers that they drafted fit their offense a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. So, pick 7. We have the Lions trading down with the Patriots. So this is a relatively standard trade where the Lions receive pick 15 and a 2022 first round pick. The Lions continue their quest to own the 2022 first round and add another first round pick to their arsenal of picks that they have. They're going to have now like 5 first round picks within 2 years in 2022 and 2023. They only have to move back 8 spots. And the Patriots, I love this deal for the Patriots. I think this is a good deal for both teams. Maybe the Lions look to get a little bit more out of the trade. I wouldn't be surprised. But from a Patriots fan perspective, we are able to trade up and get a quarterback that you can argue should have been picked at 2, right? Mm-hmm. And you get him without giving up any other picks this year aside from your first round pick. So this is a team that needs talent now. They finally have a little bit of cap space, so you might be able to pick up some holes, fill some holes, whether it's a running back or a receiver in free agency, maybe some defensive sides. You don't have a third round pick, so in terms of the Patriots in this mock draft, we wanted to get a quarterback without giving up any other picks this year because we think we can turn this roster around a whole lot quicker than the public thinks. So all we have to do is give up a first-round pick next year. We get our quarterback that I think is a lot more pro-ready than people realize. You could easily make an argument he's QB2. I think in real life, because it's a mock, we're able to do this. In real life, the Patriots may have to give up a little bit more because other teams may be calling Detroit and that price starts skyrocketing. But in this mock, Patriots get to trade up for a great price. And they get their guy. Now we go on to number 8. This is where it starts getting frisky. We have quarterbacks flying off the board. And with that being said, we have Mac Jones being picked to the Panthers at pick 8. We were entertaining the idea of the Panthers trading down and then trading back up for Mac Jones. But we just have him, hey, it's the quarterback position. Let's just pick up our guy, Mac Jones, at pick 8, not screw around with any of that stuff. So this may come as a shock, and some Panthers fans may not like this, but in our opinion, Mac Jones is a whole lot closer to this top 4 quarterbacks than people are giving him credit for. He has the it factor. Matt Rule saw what Mac Jones was able to do at the Senior Bowl, how he commanded all the coaching staff and the players around him, how he was miles above the next quarterback prospect at the Senior Bowl practices, how he commanded the Alabama team to win every game where it wasn't even close. Even though they have talent, it's like, you look at Tua, a lot of those games were a lot closer with Tua than they were with Mac Jones, right? You get a prospect who you can make an argument should be picked top 5. Yeah, he might not line up in talent, but you talk about a guy that has the it factor. That it factor, aside from Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones may have the most it factor. And we just saw Tom Brady win a Super Bowl around that it factor. You get that kind of quarterback at 8, I think it's a great pick for the Panthers.
Yeah, I like Mac Jones too. In a lot of mocks I've seen him drop from 15 to 20 to somewhere in the second round. That's not going to happen. I think Mac Jones' stock is going to keep on increasing, and I don't get the hate or why people downsize Mac Jones so much. Besides Trevor Lawrence as a day one starter who can make an immediate impact on the team, I think Mac Jones is the second quarterback who can do that. I think he's the second most ready NFL quarterback who can really take control of the team and kind of, bust on the scene very quick. You're not going to deal with any like raw, like you said at the Senior Bowl. He just has a full-on grasp. He plays smart. Yeah, is he not the most athletic build? But give me the little bigger belly kind of guy and just sling the pill around. If you're Matt Rule, Teddy Bridgewater's not your guy. He's a good guy with a young team and trying to just find your way through games in the first year, which the Panthers I think over exceeded their expectations, especially on the defensive side of the ball very late. But just go ahead and get your guy. You're getting a guy who's easily going to be a durable quarterback in this league, and get him in the lights of Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. They re-signed Curtis Samuel. I mean, that's weapons all over the place. You got more of their aerial attack with Mac Jones. I really like this pickup for them, and the Panthers continue their surge of their rebuild.
Yeah, just lastly, Mac Jones, I think people are discounting his arm talent too much. I think he throws a great football. He picked up the offense so much faster than any other quarterback at the Senior Bowl, which I think speaks a lot more to coaches than the public will, because like you said, if you want a guy that can win some football games for you this year, he's got to be able to pick up the offense. And I think Mac Jones, compared to any other quarterback, he's probably at the top of the list in that regard. He has those intangibles, and at the end of the day, the quarterback position is a position based around intangibles. We've seen guys, some of the best quarterbacks of all time, some of these guys don't have the craziest talent level. They can't move a ton. They don't have the craziest arm, but it's their intangibles that carry. Mac Jones is that quarterback. You pick him at 8. I think it's a great pick. Broncos. So this is a little bit of a controversial pick, I think, for Broncos fans. A lot of guys would want to see them go corner here. The reason that we have Broncos taking Rashawn Slater is, simply put, if we're the Broncos GM, we're going BPA. Best player on our board overall as a prospect is Rashawn Slater. The Bengals could have easily taken him at 5. Rashawn Slater is the kind of guy, just look at what he did against Chase Young. I think come actual draft time, he could go a whole lot higher than 9, especially if teams aren't as high on the quarterbacks as we are in this mock. He could be going off the board very early. So, yes, if Rashawn Slater goes, Broncos take a corner. They could go a corner regardless, but I think that they just go BPA, and that's Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's like a lot of teams will question picks like this when there's a clear need for a team. And you got to remember, when these coaches in the front offices get into their little draft room, they don't give a crap what the analysts or what the fans say. If their player they really like, their number one player is on the board, they're going to take that player regardless. And, you just saw in the Super Bowl, you need no line. And Rashawn Slater is one of the better tackles in this draft. Go ahead and get your guy, and then you can probably fill in that need for a corner later in the draft and through free agency.
So we have another trade. The Cowboys trade down from 10 to 18 with the Dolphins. Cowboys pick up a couple more picks to revamp that defensive side of the football. And the Miami Dolphins trade up and get Kyle Pitts. The Dolphins come out with an absolute offensive haul in this mock, which is not going to happen come draft time. But basically, Dolphins realize, hey, Kyle Pitts has fallen way too far. We're an offense that uses 3 tight ends, 2 tight ends a whole lot. We get Kyle Pitts, who is basically a receiver, right? So the Dolphins add, as an offense that needs weapons, they add Devontae Smith and Kyle Pitts in this draft. This would be insane for the Dolphins, in my opinion. This is a Dolphins team that I think a lot of people argue them going offensive line. I could see them picking up a great tackle, but if you look at the numbers last year, the Miami Dolphins offensive line was actually pretty damn good, especially in terms of pass protection. If I'm the Dolphins, I am surrounding Tua with the talent level that he had at Alabama. He's an accurate quarterback. Just get him guys that are going to get open and make plays. And that is Kyle Pitts and Devontae Smith, 2 top 10 picks. I love this for the Dolphins.
Yeah, this would be a huge pickup for the Dolphins. But also, Kyle Pitts going at 10 here. It's tough because in this mock draft we have quarterbacks flying off the board. Kyle Pitts is arguably... He is a top 5 player in this draft, arguably top 3.
100%.
He's just a monster, catches everything. He's the best player on the field. When you look at when he was playing at Florida, you could clearly see he was the best player on the field. And, just because of his position and the needs from other teams, he might slide a little bit. I could see him going somewhere. The Eagles could pick him up at 6. That would be a really good pick for him too. Thirds, if they don't go, a quarterback could go there. But let's just say, the Eagles stay with their track and the Panthers take their quarterback. Kyle Pitts is going to be up there for grabs anywhere around this 9 to 10 range, and I could see a team like the Dolphins, who has a lot of draft capital, just be very aggressive and get their guy.
Yeah, like you said, we were thinking about having Pitts go 3 to the Dolphins. We just decided, hey, they need a receiver so much more than Kyle Pitts, who you can argue is a receiver, right? And the reason I like Kyle Pitts to the Dolphins is just Brian Flores has showed this ingenuity of how to use players. He designs the system around his players. So I think that Kyle Pitts, if you get him into a coaching staff that is good at making new roles for players and taking advantage of the skill set of Kyle Pitts, not molding Kyle Pitts around my offense, but molding my offense around Kyle Pitts, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's start to speed run this a little bit here. So, pick 11, Giants take Jalen Waddle. They need a receiver. We were thinking of having them go best edge rusher. I would not be surprised at all. Gettleman is a guy that likes to take these pass rushers and offensive linemen, but we just have him going receiver. Steed, you want anything?
Yeah, here Daniel Jones, after his little resurgence and was playing much better at the end of the season. Jalen Waddle is a guy with extreme talent, so you give Daniel Jones another little deep threat right here, a guy who can run pretty much any route on the tree, and it just makes your offense a little bit better, especially with Saquon coming back and the Giants continue owning their rebuild.
49ers, pretty basic. None of the quarterbacks that they like fall to them. They don't want to pull the trigger because just from the reports of that Matthew Stafford deal, they wanted to trade a package of seconds and thirds for Stafford. I think that is because they love this pick 12 to pick up a corner. They need a ton of help in their secondary, and it starts at pick 12. They pick up, arguably the cornerback 1. We have it as CB2 here.
He's the first corner off the board here.
Yeah, he's first corner off the board, but you can argue they're going to go Caleb Farley. We have Caleb Farley slide a little bit, but Patrick Surtain, great pick here at 12, especially because the Broncos could go corner at 9. Chargers, pretty basic pick here. They're a team, they just draft for need, it seems like, right? Great players have just fallen into their lap. It happened with Derwin James. It happened with a D lineman I know a couple years ago. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. And it happens here again with Darisaw. They get a guy that is a great tackle prospect at 13, protect the young quarterback, pretty basic. Vikings, another pretty standard pick here, nothing crazy off consensus. They just take the best pass rusher on the board. They tried to make it work with guys like Ngakoue, didn't pan out, so they traded him out. Let's just get younger on this defense. They could honestly go any defensive position, whoever's the best on their board, but they just need defensive help.
Yeah.
Now, the Lions, this is why this trade really works out for the Lions. They pick up a guy who's sliding a little bit in mocks, and in our mock especially, because of the character concerns. Some of the stuff came out about hazing with Parsons. They pick up a top 10 talent at 15. Nothing else really needs to be said. The Lions just need to go best player available at any freaking position, and that is quintessential. You get your stud linebacker. This is a guy that we thought about mocking at 8 to the Panthers, even to the Eagles at 6. You get him at 15, great pick.
Yeah, huge value pick here. He's only sliding because of his character issues. I think Parsons easily the best defensive player in this draft, all around beast. Great pick for the Lions. You know, you get your anchor on defense for your continue of your rebuild with plenty of picks left in the future.
Cardinals, this is kind of a weird pick too to mock right now because we don't know what's going to happen with Patrick Peterson. A lot of the reports was that he was going to become a free agent, but then he tweeted something out, I'm pretty sure, saying, hey, something along the lines of that's not true. But regardless, I think that the Cardinals need to go defense. They have some great pieces on their defense. I could see them going pass rusher, but we have them, you know, even if they keep on to Patrick Peterson, you pick up who a lot of people have as the top corner on the board at 16. This would be a great pick. I think it's a little bit too optimistic to have Caleb Farley fall this far, but with quarterbacks going off the board in our mock, people trading up for offensive talent, the Cardinals are able to cash in, and if they're able to pick up a guy like Farley, this could transcend their defense, as their secondary, to that elite level. If you keep on to Patrick Peterson, pick up Farley, you have Budda Baker, this would be unreal for the Cardinals.
Yeah, be a really good pick.
So for the Raiders here, we have them taking Christian Barmore. We were thinking about going Paye. We like Zaven Collins here. But when I watched the Raiders, you know, this is a Raiders podcast. We had them as our Super Bowl bet. The number one thing for me was that they were getting beat up front. They couldn't get a consistent pass rush. You know, guys like Crosby were good, but they need help up there. They need help on their run defense as well. I could see them going with one of the top linebackers, but we just haven't taken an anchor in Barmore up front. This is a team that likes to take high character players, especially from those big SEC level schools. You know, they saw it happen with Clelin Ferrell. I could see them going Barmore here just to be the anchor of their front seven on defense.
Yeah. Just revamp the D-line. I mean, that defense is horrible. They just need to draft defense. Just get them talent.
So the Cowboys, after trading down and acquiring more picks, they get the guy that they were thinking about taking at 10 here in Kwity Paye. Cowboys, once again, I could see them going any defensive lineman here early. This is a team that just needs to get their D-line better. It's why they were good in 2016. I mean, aside from the fact that their offensive line was a lot better, but regardless, Cowboys need to get better up front on offense and defense. I think they addressed it in this draft, and they do it also by trading down to acquire more picks for that defense.
Yeah.
Falcons, you want to take this one, boss?
Yeah, I think the Falcons get an absolute steal here at 19 for Jalen Phillips. There's still a lot of good edge rushers on the. They could go corner, but I think Falcons fans will agree that pass rush has been the D-line. The pass rush has been the problem for years now. Jalen Phillips is a guy that's really, with Rousseau sitting out this year, has really climbed up the board and has made himself as one of these top pass rushers and a first-round prospect. Now, I wouldn't be surprised during all pro day and leading up to the draft if Jalen Phillips continues to climb, because I still think he has a chance to be the first edge rusher taken. But I think this is just easily, you take BPA, you get your guy, and then you continue to build up the defense.
So, pick 20, we have the Bears taking Rashad Bateman. Just get your X receiver because Allen Robinson's leaving. And now we have the Colts trading for Carson Wentz, giving up pick 21 and a 2022 third. As you can see here, we also had them giving up 54. We had changed that right before the podcast. We were only going to go over round one for the pod. And we'll have the whole thing released. Obviously, there's a mistake here with the Colts taking Surratt. That was what the Eagles were initially doing when they gave up 54. But looking at it closer, I don't think the Eagles are going to get much more than this first-round pick. And when push comes to shove, I do think that the Colts, compared to the Bears, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the episode with the quarterback carousel, but the Colts win the sweepstakes for Carson Wentz, giving up 2022 third and pick 21. And with 21, the Eagles continue, they drafted offense with their first pick, but now they get a top corner on the board in J.C. Horn to continue to revamp that secondary. Secondary's been a large issue for the Eagles all season. I could easily see them going linebacker here. I don't think they go pass rush because their pass rush is pretty good. Maybe they go tackle with some of the top tier tackles on the board to protect Jalen Hurts. But we just have them basically going BPA, and that player is J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn is a guy that he could easily be going in the teens.
Yeah, and don't be surprised if JC's taken before the other two corners. I think JC, he's had family in the NFL. He's not the flashy player at South Carolina, but he was a guy at South Carolina that he did have the ball thrown his way much just because that receiver was not open. Kind of like that Patrick Peterson kind of feel to him. And if they did throw it to his way, there was a good chance there was nothing coming out of that play. I think J.C. Horn's an easy stud in the NFL. Also, you're getting a guy from a school that's had really good track record of corners.
Yeah, basically because so much offensive talent was flying off the board in the beginning, that a lot of these defensive players for these middle-of-the-pack teams, like in our mock, we just have a big run of them going. Because a lot of people, offensive-driven league, but you still need that defense. So Eagles get a value pick here with J.C. Horn. Titans, we have going Joseph Osai. This is a tough pick for the Titans. I think we can both agree that Titans probably go pass rush here. Which one is a difficult question because there is like a 99.9% chance that both Rousseau and Paye are going to be off the board by this pick. So it's almost like with all the next like that tier 2 to tier 3 pass rushers, who do you pick? We have him going Osai. I'm not sure this is the best pick in the mock for them just because Osai is kind of he's pretty raw as a pass rusher out of Texas, but regardless, in terms of talent, I think the Osai is definitely a first rounder. I really like what I saw out of him at Texas, so that's who we have the Titans going, but I would not be surprised if they wanted to go with a guy like Ojulari or one of these other DNs that gets taken in the early part of the second round or late end of the first round. Jets. Another weird pick for the Jets. We just have them going BPA, and that's Zaven Collins. The Jets, they did trade up for Deshaun Watson, but they were able to hang on to pick 23, and they need to use this pick to revamp their defense a little bit. Their defense is so bad. They need players on all three levels. We just haven't taken the best guy on the board, and that's Zaven Collins. You talk about a linebacker that he's 6'4", he's like 260, 250, but he's also really fast and pretty decent in pass coverage. Those guys usually aren't on the board at 23, so that's why we have the Jets getting a great value pick here. I would not be surprised if Collins goes earlier.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. This is a guy that, where you go, Tulsa or Tulane?
Yeah, Tulsa.
Okay. I thought it was Tulsa. But this is a guy, when he was getting recruited out of high school, 0 Power 5 scholarships, and made the most out of Tulsa and became an instant beast there. And there's a reason why he's projected in the first round. If you're Jets, you just need talent on defense, especially after you got Deshaun. So you want to keep these games close. And Saleh, I feel like Zaven Collins is kind of like that solid guy, gritty guy, going to play smart and going to do his job, and that's just a good fit for them.
Yeah, he can just be the rock in the middle of that Robert Saleh defense. But seeing that they went pass rusher a whole bunch, I would not be surprised if the Jets want to go pass rusher here at 23. Steelers, I have my Steelers taking Elijah Vera-Tucker. We have O-line here because he played tackle. I could see them possibly moving him inside because the Steelers have been taking a couple tackles recently in drafts, so maybe they like the development of those guys and they move him inside. But regardless, I think the Steelers go O-line. I don't think they go defense. I saw a couple people mocking them, maybe a corner, say someone like J.C. Horn falls to them. I just think that if we're going to try and fill in a defensive player, it's going to be in the second round. I think that first round, we clearly need to revamp this offensive line. Jaguars, similar theory, right? You pick up Trevor Lawrence at 1, let's protect him. We get a great tackle prospect at 25 in Samuel Cosme. This is a guy that could go a whole lot earlier than 25.
Yeah.
So in terms of value picks, it's great. It's tough for the mock drafts. Like you said earlier, they're going to take their guys, these teams. But Cosme falls, great pick for the Jaguars. Browns at 26. They get the rock that they have needed in the middle of their defense. I know that the Browns, they could take a pass rusher, they could take a D-back, right? Regardless, I think we can both agree the Browns are going defense. And for me, you look at the reason I have them going inside linebacker. You look at the top defenses in the league, every single one of these groups has that elite level inside linebacker. That's what Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah could be at pick 26 for him.
Yeah, it instantly makes an impact on the defense and continues like the Browns' climb. I just think the Browns are a really good spot at 26 to get a really good value because there's going to be a couple guys that fall. And, Jeremiah is a guy that, in normal drafts could go a lot higher than this. I think he's a really great talent, but I just see a linebacker slipping.
Ravens here just go best edge player available, Azeez Ojulari. I'm not a huge fan of this pick because I could definitely see them taking one of these pass rushers that goes later in the draft in Jason Owe or Carlos Basham as like a bigger edge rusher. But we just have them, hey, Ravens need an edge rusher. Who's the best guy on the board? That's Azeez Ojulari. Go get the quarterback. Saints pick up the linebacker that they need in their defense. They're probably getting rid of one of their two linebackers. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. But that is a huge... I could easily see him go secondary as well. We had him initially mocked Trayvon Moehrig or a couple of the corners. But Saints, their defense, they had great linebacker play. We're going to have that continuing with Nick Bolton. This is a guy that could go a whole lot earlier than at 28. But I think this is a good pick for the Saints.
Yeah.
Packers. This is a weird pick for the Packers because they don't... Once again, they don't necessarily need a receiver. They could definitely use one, but they have some other holes. They have some holes in the interior offensive line. They're going to need a pass rusher and a corner. So I think that this is a little bit too greedy from the Packers, but this is our mock draft. We can do what we want. Let's keep Aaron Rodgers happy, and let's pick up an elite vertical threat receiver that Aaron Rodgers wants. He's been having to deal with guys like Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Alan Lazard. These are good receivers, but don't have that elite level talent. Let's get them one of these elite level deep threats.
Yeah, I like this pick for the Packers right here. You missed out on a great receiver class last year by not taking any. But yeah, like you get a guy right here that instantly makes Rodgers happy, and their offense is already really, really good. Don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Jones, so you need to add a weapon for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Terrence Marshall Jr. is a great counterfeit for Devontae.
Bills here. We have the Bills easily going defense. They could definitely take a defensive lineman because I know that was a huge need for them last year. One of these guys like Nixon or, there are a couple other pretty decent players. But we have him going to Asante Samuel Jr., shore up that second corner spot, shore up that secondary a little bit more. I do think that there's a good chance the Bills go D-line, but we'll have him taking a corner here. Good value pick for the Bills. Chiefs and Bucks. Hey, these, Chiefs, they were one of the worst pass rushing teams in the league last year. They needed to blitz to get home. Let's give them a big old pass rusher in Jason Owe out of Penn State. And then similar thing with the Bucks, right? We saw how good their pass rush was in the Super Bowl. They're going to need to start paying some guys. They're going to be strapped for the cap where we don't think they can keep both Barrett and JPP, so they fill in and take a pass rusher in the draft.
Yeah, even though at the Super Bowl boat parade they had yesterday that absolutely looked so lit. Dude, it looked so cool. Yeah, they were saying they're going to keep Shaq Barrett, no doubt. But they were saying they would also keep JPP. I think that was a little bit of the booze talking, Super Bowl kind of feelings talking. But even if they do, the Bucs are in a situation where their defense is still so talented that, you can take anything you want. Just get a pass rusher. Just you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, the 49ers and other teams have proven that you can never have enough pass rushers. So
Yeah.
taking a good quality pass rusher at the end of the first round, never a bad pick. Could see him going somewhere else if they are able to hold on to both of those guys, but that's going to be the mock. As you can see, I was just highlighting this last trade. We have the Bears in the second round trading for Sam Darnold. They decide to pass up on Kyle Trask and take a guy that definitely has a higher level of talent. They get a great deal. And also for the Jets, I think this is a decent deal because you traded away basically an entire draft class for Deshaun Watson. You get to fill in with another second round pick. We'll have the updated version of the second round coming out on the website, but that's our round 2 of the mock version 2. Steve, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I like her mock. Is it going to go the way it goes? And like it is the first one, you still got to have all these come out. You got to have these trades come out. Not
Yeah, the
every
trades
single...
and the free agency is going to completely rock things.
I mean, you could see something crazy as a sleeper team, as like the Panthers really make a move for Deshaun. They have draft capital too. They can make a move for Deshaun. I would not be shocked by that. Teams like the 49ers, the Bears, or something like that. Just know that I still believe that the Jets are going to trade for him because I think that's the best part, and plus it's the Jets. And I don't know. But I right now I think like we're going against the grain on some people, but that's what we're here for.